Hey, what's up, you all? Welcome back. I'm Van. We are all the LFR family. Thank you so much for clicking play. Hopefully you click that like button as well. And if you choose to wait until the end to see if you actually like the video before you hit the like button, that's cool too. And if you're feeling extra generous, guys, consider sharing this video by hitting the share button below the video, copying the link and sharing it on Reddit, LinkedIn, Facebook groups, and X. I have a question for you, serious question. Have you ever been called a field slave before or field nigger as a compliment? Have you ever been called a house slave before or a house nigger as an insult? I have been called both. I was at the gym and working out with some guys, right? And these guys, they all of them are black. Everybody's black in this scenario. I'm not going to say what the name of the gym is because I don't want to put them in a bad light. But they looked at me, and because I'm a slim guy, I work out real hard. I go hard, but I'm a slim guy. And when I'm ready to put on muscle, I put on muscle. It's just eating. I cannot force myself to eat more than I want to eat. Like, I'm a grown man. I do realize that in order to build, if you want to build, you got to eat certain things and this, that, and other. I don't like to stick to other people's regimens. I don't like to force feed myself. I think that's unhealthy. I feed myself what my body calls for. Now, when you work out, though, your body automatically gets a little hungrier. I mean, you automatically get a little hungrier because you got to refuel. And I'm just now learning that. So, all right. So I'm working out with these guys. All of them are big, big dudes. It's like you working out. It's like you're in prison, right? And you're on the yard and you out there with the biggest dudes that just focus on working out. That's what they do. So I tried to blend in with them guys and I tried to work out with them guys because like I said, I go hard when I work out. Pause. So I'm lifting with these guys and I'm trying to get my weight up. But from the way that they look at me, this is what they said from their mouths. Man, I thought you was a house nigga, but you lifting like, man, you a field nigga. So I'm lifting. And I guess they didn't think I could lift the weights that they put down there. I started doing it and they started getting excited. It was like 4 or 5 of them started getting excited. Big dudes, big black dudes started getting excited that I was lifting. They was like, oh, you a field nigga. Yeah. Yeah, you a field nigga. I didn't know. So they started getting excited, calling me a field nigga, field slave, right? I don't know if you and so they started getting excited and called me a field nigga. And I automatically knew what it was. I didn't need any context. I didn't feel any type of way. But this just shows how we distinctively divide the two, the house slave and the field slave. But we automatically look at black people and assume that every black person came from slaves. And I think that that's a little sad. I think it's a little immature. I think it's, although I completely understand, I'm not a person that don't can't look beyond context and understand what people are trying to say. I'm a strong-minded individual. I completely get it. They was trying to give me a compliment, but what if that was a white dude that said that to me? What if that was a white dude that said that to anybody who was lifting weights and he was lifting heavy weights? He'd be like, "Oh, let's go. You a field nigga." So yeah, that happened. And on social media, so in my face, I've been called a field nigga as a compliment. On social media, I'm being called a house nigga for representing conservative values, for representing a political side that, in the eyes of what's being taught to black people right now on the left, conservatives are completely against black people. That's why I like to discuss race with you guys. I told you before, and I only asked the question before. Why is it that black people want to discuss race? And why is it and white people do not want to discuss race? And I get it because we use it as a weapon against one another rather than trying to embrace each other's cultures. And you all are just completely done with it. And I'm talking about my white followers, my white supporters. Y'all just like done with it. They're like, what's the point of us discussing race? It's only one race, the human race. I get it. That's what you made up in your mind. And that's actually the truth. God only created the human race. He didn't create, okay, we're going to get some white and some Chinese. I mean, although he did put us in different parts of the world and we became who we became, but we're all the same. That's why I feel it's necessary to have these conversations. Because again, if it was a white man, that if I would have looked up while working out, or any of those guys would have been around working out, and it was a white guy that said we look like field slaves, nobody in that circle would have took kind to that. No, if anything, there would have been a fight. There would have been some wrestling going on. There would have been some cursing. There would have been some anger. You know what I mean? There would have been some type of vitriol. The same way that people try to get out of me on social media. See, we have a whole lot of keyboard killers out here, a whole lot of thumb thugs out here. Yeah, keyboard killers and thumb thugs out here because they post their anger through social media, but they'll never say those type of things to me face to face. Not that there will be any type of consequence for it, because I don't care. Like, I know who I am. You know what I mean? Calling me a house nigga as an insult, it degrades so many black people that I don't even think they understand, because the divide between light-skinned black and dark-skinned black is still there. Some people had certain skills to work outside. Some people had certain skills to work inside. It's not like they applied and they won this fabulous job in this fabulous career, although they both came with certain things. But we've been dividing ourselves for such a long time that it's silly as hell for me to look outside of our own culture and blame another race for what's happening to us. So when you look at the education in our areas, when you look at how we're not catching up financially, bruh, it's all because of us. But we continue to divide each other by simply doing exactly what happened to me in the gym, trying to give me a compliment and say that I'm a field nigga, I'm a field slave. And the people, the black people online who are Democrats, see me talking about, yeah, Trump is a good guy and Trump will change this world for the better, change this country for the better, and all these things. They automatically call me a house nigga now because I want to be close to boss. I want to make sure I protect massa. I want to protect the big house more than I want to protect the other black people that I'm being enslaved with. I want to make sure I'm looking out for the boss more than I'm looking out for people who look like me. And that's pretty much what they're saying in context, not realizing that effed up mentality is why we're in the messed up position we're in right now. All right. So have you, I don't know if you've answered this already, but have you ever been called either a field nigga or a house nigga? We have been teaching people how to grow online. It's been absolutely amazing. We have 3 people who have been able to reach monetization in less than 30 days. Growing YouTube channels, some from 0 people. We have one guy who had 2 subscribers before he started working with me. He started helping him. His views went up 4.8 million%. We're super excited. If anybody ever want to grow on YouTube, you reach out to me with the word coach. And if you have, how did you take it? And if you haven't, how would you take it if somebody called you that? I went ahead and I asked Grok, what do black people say the difference is between a field slave and a house slave? I had to ask that because obviously we already know the difference. One worked in the field, one worked in the house. We get that. We get that. Cooking, cleaning, serving, sometimes personal care for the slave owners, family, and all this other stuff. And then you have others who are outside who work primarily outdoors in agricultural fields, performing labor-intensive tasks like planting, harvesting, building, plantation work, physically demanding, and all that other stuff. But check this out right here. This is something that I really noticed. So proximity to power is another reason why people like to use that as a jab. They like to use that as a jab to black people who are closer to the decision makers, so to speak. All right. And they use that as a jab to say you're closer to the decision makers, and that's why you are so out of touch with what our people need and what our people want. Not realizing that we all came from the same place, not realizing that our stories are extremely similar, not realizing that we wouldn't trade. Like if you knew my story, and that's a lot of things too. If you knew my story, you wouldn't trade with me. If you knew my most black men out there, I'll bet whatever amount that you want to bet. If you knew my story, you would not want to trade with me. So we need to stop trying to act as if we are the only ones going through something. All right. God has given all of us our lot, but God has also blessed us differently as well. Like I got my own gifts and talents and abilities. You got your own gifts, talents, and abilities, but I got my own traumas and things that happened to me bad in life. The same way that you do. So that's why I laugh when I see people get on their kick saying that how come police are only shooting black people and black young men and black. The police just keep on shooting black men. And then when you start doing your research, you'll realize that police shoot more white men than they shoot anybody around this country. If you wanted to look into that. But since we're so hyper focused on our own victimization, we want to try to ring the alarm and try to paint it as if we are the small guy constantly being picked on, all because you don't want to do no damn research, all because you want to spread lies to the people that you're trying to trick into believing the same exact things that you believe. So you're not even going to look anywhere else. You don't care about other nationalities and what happened to them. You don't want to hear about no slavery with anybody else that's not black. You only want to hear about bad times with black people so that you can hold it over the heads of other races. And that's why white people don't want to talk about that sugar honey iced tea no more, because it's like pointless. Damn if I do, damn if I don't. I try to relate to you. You're trying to say that I want to be like you. You're trying to say that you're trying to get close to me so that you can use me or take advantage of me or be a culture vulture. You know what I mean? You want to take my talent and my gifts and do your own thing in front of your people and act like you discovered it. We already know the same tricks of the trade happen all the time. So, but then if I just blatantly say, I can care less about what you're doing. I don't want to be your friend. I don't want to force myself to dance with you, to sing with you, to eat with you, to play with you. None of that. And if somebody approach you like that, you say you're racist. You're not trying to appease me. How come you don't want to go outside of the norm in order to appease me? I'm the victim here. I suffered. You didn't. And that's foolish. Those are people who don't know who God is and what God does. We automatically just assume that we're the only people that's gone through something and nobody else has. So that's something I wanted to discuss with you guys because I think it's absolutely ridiculous. So it got to perceptions and division. It says there's a historical narrative where field slaves might have viewed house slaves with suspicion or disdain, seeing them as potentially complicit or favored by slave holders. Shout out to Sonny Halston, whose family was slave holders. Conversely, house slaves might have been seen by slave owners as more civilized or trusted, though this was often a facade to serve the interests of the enslavers. Everybody had a job to do, period. Some people were weaker than others. Some people were handpicked for different reasons. Who gives a damn? But when you call somebody that, expect it to be called across the board. You see me out there working out and you feel like you want to compliment me, say, bro, you're strong. You're doing your thing. Don't call me no field nigga. That's no compliment. That's not a compliment. It really isn't. It's not a compliment. It's not funny. Just like calling somebody a house nigga should not be a jab at their character. It should not be a jab at their integrity. It shouldn't at all. And it also shows that you have absolutely no respect for anyone who was a house slave, because those people were going through the fight and struggle just like you. But you automatically elevated them above you so that you can be more of a victim, so that you can be able to complain openly. And a lot of times people just want to be able to complain. I just want to be the victim. I want to be the one that has an ailment. So you guys can go on without me. I don't have to do any work. I don't have to pull my weight. I grew up in this horrible environment. I got to duck and dodge bullets and gangs in order to go to school. So I'm not going to go to school. So I'm not going to read at home. So I'm not going to catch up with my class. I can care less about playing catch up with my class because I can't afford to, because it's so dangerous around here. My schools don't get enough money. They don't get a lot of money like the people in LA, Brentwood, and all that other stuff. They don't get enough money like them. So since they don't get enough money, I shouldn't be charged to compete against them. I shouldn't have to have the same grades as they have. I shouldn't have to be as smart as they are. But I do want to be paid what they're being paid. I mean, my victimhood is keeping me from being as talented and gifted and smart as them, but I still want to have the same payments as them. I still want to get, it should be a requirement that you make it easier for me to get into certain institutions. It should be a requirement that you make it easier for me to get loans, that my credit score should not have to be like theirs because clearly I'm not as responsible. They have both of their parents at home. I only got my mother at the house. My father got locked up or he was in drugs or something like that. So I shouldn't have. No, we all have our lot. Some of the best people in this world, some of the people who have done some of the greatest things ever in history did not have both of their parents. And even if they did, that don't mean that they had such a great relationship or the guidance and leadership that was required in order for them to become who they was. Sometimes we become who we are because we didn't have. You know what I mean? Most times when we grow up, we become that person to protect the little kid that we once was. That's who we become. Or we work hard to get those things that we didn't have. We might not have had a house when we were growing up. So we work our asses off so that our children could have a house when they are growing up. We might not have had our father in the home. So we do what we have to do to make sure that we are in a relationship with someone who will value family as much as we value family.